Good morning, peeps. It's a beautiful day in my backyard. I can hear the hummingbirds clicking up in my tree, my oak tree. And my lemons are finally turning yellow. So I have like 13 lemons on my tree. I bought this tree from Costco about 4 or 5 months ago. You see, I got a lot of work to do. This is what the rains has brought me. I didn't get a chance to clean up the debris from last year, so now I've got double duty, a little bit of double duty, but it won't take me long. But I just wanted to, and see, there's my hummingbird feeder. This is my barbecue, my samurai style barbecue. I got it all covered up to save it from the rain. My Argentine grill, yeah. And but my main purpose of this video today is to go over the type of protein that I take with my smoothie and my smoothie itself. See, I have my smoothie here. I still have to take my supplements. I've got my vitamins here I have to take real quick. Please excuse me. But I take all my soft ones first. Got up early. I went to yoga this morning. And I was feeling kind of sore when I came back, so I took my vitamin C as soon as I came home. Now I feel fine. Muscle soreness is gone. So I went to the gym yesterday and did my weight training. Now, to get to this good thing about this plant protein. The manufacturer is Alchepharma, which is actually, this is owned by my nutritionist and her husband. They own 4 stores here in Santa Barbara County. And the Lompoc store is where Heike Turciano, my nutritionist, is where she manages her store there. She has a full running deli in there, and they always make all these specialty chocolates, and they make these curry salads that are super good, and deviled eggs, and they always have healthy smoothies and snacks in the fridge. And but this plant protein, I really like it. I'm going to turn to the back label and show you why I like it better. Because I've been working out, and for muscle, building muscle back. For those people, first let me explain something real quick to you. Since last April, I had been living like a sedentary life to where I used to do yoga with Heike in her store. She's also a yoga instructor too, by the way. She's many things. She's like a master at everything she does. So I was doing yoga once a week with her. Well, then she stopped doing it, and then it's like I couldn't find another place to go. And then I discovered honey fly yoga in town, like last year before. And so I wanted to check it out. So I finally did it in February or April. March or April. No, it had to be April is when I started. And so I loved it because I'd done it before. But then, you know what? I was not aware of what I was I had done to my body by not doing anything physically with it for 3 years prior to that, when I was just doing the yoga 1 hour a week. I lost a lot of my mobility in my knees. My arthritis was flaring up in my knees really bad and bothering me. And I've been detoxing and stuff, and I thought, this really shouldn't be happening. What's going on? Because, so once I went to the doctor and looked over all my choices, I went ahead and did all the physical therapy, and that's where I learned everything about the mobility and the physiology of your muscles and what's important for them to do, and how to rebuild them. And it's like, I didn't realize I had lost so much in that 3 years of my mobility because of the fact I was just living just day to day, where people just think that they don't have to exercise. But what you don't realize is that when you age, there's a hummingbird, but when you age, your body changes. And so your needs, your nutritional needs change. And so a lot of that change has to have physical activity or physical exercise with it. I didn't realize that me having thyroid disease, and having all this bone loss and thinking it's from the medication, from the environment. But no, a lot of it is my own fault too, because I wasn't exercising. I didn't realize this until this year, that it's all part of it. My activity, everything is part of my bone loss, my arthritis, everything. It's all combined in between the medications and stuff that the physicians have to put us on. It all goes together. Well, I've been restoring my bone loss, but it's like, I wasn't seeing really much results. But now that it clicked in my head that my lab results were even better. So my bone loss is reversing itself now that I've been working out. So this is very, very important for muscle, for retaining muscle. This plant protein is. I'm going to read the ingredients to you. So that way. Okay, so it has, I can't really see in the sun, but I'm going to read it. Contains no soy, dairy, wheat, gluten, preservatives, artificial colors, sweeteners, or flavors. So it's, where's the ingredients list? Hold on. Okay, it's got pea protein isolate, cranberry seed, chia seed, and sacha inchi seed. So it's a multi-source plant protein blend. Branch chain amino acids. Okay, now this is what's important. It's got the leucine, L-isoleucine, and valine. I know I'm probably not pronouncing some of these words. Glutamine and enzyme blend, which I really like because of the fact with all the digestive problems that people have as they age too, that's really important. But what I like is the BCAAs, the branch chain amino acids, which is really imperative for muscle recovery. So actually, if you have this as part of your daily supplement throughout the day, this would give you all your 20 grams of protein per meal. You're supposed to have like 60 milligrams a day from what I've been told. 20 grams per meal. But here's a typical amino acid profile. Alanine, arginine, aspartic acid, cysteine, glutamic acid, glycine, histidine, isoleucine, leucine, lysine, methionine. I know I'm probably not pronouncing it right, but phenylalanine, proline, serine, threonine, tryptophan, tyrosine, valine. So it's like, other ingredients. This is what I like too. When you read the bottom, other ingredients. Inulin. Why is inulin really important? We need it to keep our blood sugar, especially if you're diabetic. It's or pre-diabetic. This actually prevents you from becoming diabetic. The inulin does. Natural cocoa, natural chocolate, stevia, xanthan gum, natural flavor, glycine, and silica. So that's the chocolate plant protein that I get from them. And I paid, well, I get like a discount off at the store because I'm a senior, $27.65. So I get like 20% off. So I pay about $23, $24, I think, after tax. Maybe a little bit less. Because 10% would be $276. So it'd be about $5 off. So about $22, $23. But, and then what else I put in my smoothie is I really like this from YS Eco Bee Farms, the Super Green Power Bee Pollen with spirulina, cholera, barley, and wheatgrass. Now this, if you don't put like, I always put kale in my smoothie, or spinach, or I get the Earthbound Farms organic power greens, and I'll stuff my NutriBullet with like half of the vegetables, just cram it in there as much as I can, and then I'll put in like a quarter of avocado, and I'll put in my protein powders. So I put in 1 scoop of this, and then I put in 1 teaspoon of this. And then I'll put in like a teaspoon of flax seeds or flax meal. Actually, the NutriBullet does really good. If you want to put whole seeds in there, it makes it straight into flax meal. So, don't worry about the seeds not getting processed in there. The NutriBullet is really good for that. And then I'll add in, I put in turmeric in this one. But I also will put in most times I'll put in a clove of garlic, or I'll put in fresh ginger, like a few slices of fresh ginger root or ginger root powder. You could do it that way. And this was my meal when I had all 3 of my oral surgeries for my teeth implants. I got 2 teeth implants put in, and I had to have 3 surgeries for this process. So, I had 3 surgeries, and let me tell you, that was enough trauma to your head the first time. The second time was bad. He had to go in and regraft because the tooth implants didn't hold. So he had to go in and regraft my bone. But otherwise, it's a long healing process. And so this is what I ate for all 3 surgeries. I kept my pH water high, like at 9, above 7 or 9. And I always rinsed out my mouth with Himalayan pink salt, very warm water after every meal, and brushed my teeth. But what's important is that, the pH level and the nutrition you need when you have something that traumatic going on. You really do have to focus on your supplementation and make sure that you have a really good probiotic, which, from what I've been reading, that the medical industries could be swapping out antibiotics for probiotics, which is actually way better. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. I can't wait for that day to happen. I'll be doing the happy dance when that happens, because this is what we really need. The medicine's going to work, and it's not going to create no side effects. But the probiotics, you need a lot of the good bacteria inside your gut. What keeps your body happy and help it to be self-regulated and self-healing. But yeah, I have one of these smoothies at least once a day. And then the rest of my diet is really kind of light. I'll steam maybe some fresh vegetables in my ghee and butter and salt and pepper it. Or I'll have some nuts or apple. I only have one fruit a day because I really do have to look at the hummingbirds. They're so sweet. Let's see if I can zoom in. There he is. Yeah, he's eating. Or she's eating. But now I lost where I was. And but anyway, as far as my NutriBullet and my smoothie goes, I only have one a day, and then I'll eat maybe some nuts later. And I don't eat bread at all. All the grains, all the soy. The dairy is not good for me either. So if I do eat dairy, it is just goat cheese. It's the second DNA strain. Goat cheese, sheep cheese, and there is a breed of cow, the Jerseys, that carry that same DNA strain. But you don't know. You have to ask the ranchers if they carry the second DNA strain. And from my understanding, when you have protein supplementation, that's whey. If it's from New Zealand, it is from that second DNA strain. So Alchepharma does carry that too, if you want that option. But what I used to take that way all the time, but then it didn't have any of the BCAAs in it. So I started with this instead, and my body is reacting really well with this protein, a lot better than the whey. So now if I could just get my doctors on board with my thyroid condition, because that threw me for a loop when my doctor referred me to an endocrinologist, and I'm on Armour Thyroid, and my body does not convert T4 into T3. And Armour Thyroid contains both of those forms of hormones. Well, the only thing, so she reduced my medication, that was fine, and I was fine. But then she kept reducing it, and she was wanting me to take T4 instead. T4 to supplement with my T3, with my Armour. And it's like, I was on the levothyroxine for 17 years before I switched over to the Armour. And you know what? I was very, very sick and never even knew it for 17 years. Because I was told by my doctor when I first got diagnosed with Hashimoto's way back in September of 1996. Zachary was only 3 months old. But I was on the medication a year. And he told me, okay, well, I said, well, what if I don't feel the same as what I did before? Well, there's nothing we could do. What do you mean there's nothing you can do? There's no other treatment. And that wasn't true. Armour Thyroid's been out there for over 50, 60 years. And it has a lot of research behind it, but they won't talk about that. But there is new research on it, and that's how I was able to get on it, was through research through Walter Reed Army Hospital. They did a comparison with levothyroxine and Armour Thyroid. And, and it's simply stated, that if people feel better on Armour Thyroid, then it's a healthy alternative to levothyroxine. So I just know that once I switched over, like within a week, all the brain fog, all that lifted off my body really fast once I converted over. And it made a significant change in me, in my ability, being a single parent with kids with autism, and being responsible and having to raise my kids on my own. It was a lot of stress off of me, being able to feel like I was human again, because I sure did not feel good at all. Only you know how you feel on a physiological level. Your doctor cannot tell you that your mental health is not connected to your body in any way, because it is through the blood-brain barrier. Whatever is in your spinal fluid is in your gut, and they'll find the same thing up in your brain. So whatever you're eating, breathing, or whatever is injected into you, or from pills you take, anything synthetic that's not natural, your body's going to react to, and that's why the side effects happen from many medications, because it's not conducive to your physiology the way God intended it to be. Because our bodies are made to self-regulate and self-heal, and the American Medical Association strongly believes in that. But see, we have to be awakened to this way of thinking, because of the fact I look at it to where God designed us this way. He designed us perfect. And if we're not listening to our bodies to when something happens to it, well, then we really need to build our relationship with the Lord, because of the fact that is the Lord speaking to us that something is wrong. Okay, and I've had many instances to where I've had really, really life-changing moments to where I've had conversations with God, especially in my 3 near-death experiences, from whitewater rafting, and got sucked out of a boat and held under for several minutes by the currents of the American River up in Northern California back in the 80s. I was underwater. I don't know how long I was underwater, but I just know that it took my sister at least a good half an hour to find me in an eddy, because of the fact that I was held under by the currents, and I had a conversation with God when I was down there, and I just totally relaxed. I said, God, is this it for me? And so, I practiced everything my sister taught me. She was a river guide, and I trusted her, but it was God in the end who was the deciding factor if my time here on earth was over or not. And, and I ended up like a quarter of a mile down the river, where my sister finally found me on the other side of the river. So they came over and got me. But yeah, that didn't thwart me from getting back in the boat and going down the rest of the river. Of course I still did that, but, But, I had a blast. And there was a lot of years where I really thought that my sister carried around a lot of karma with her, towards me. You know, you almost feel like that you're being, when you're around certain people, bad things happen to you. And you always feel like that maybe you're being cursed or something. But it's like, that's why that we need to keep our relationship with the Lord even closer, because He will protect us. And He saved me 3 times. The second time was when I was 19. I was in a head-on car collision. I was on my way to my sister's for a barbecue in Santa Maria, and I just got off the freeway, and I was on North Broadway, you know, and I was doing I wasn't doing the speed limit, let's put it that way, and I got into a head-on collision because a drunk driver made a left-hand turn in front of me. And I didn't even have time to hit the brakes. But I ended up, my engine of my car was pushed back and it broke the dash of my car, and a part of the dash punctured my knee. I had my lap belt on, but I ate the steering wheel from the point of impact, and 4 of my teeth in my bottom were knocked loose, and they had to be wired in. At first they thought they were broken, but they weren't. So, and I was on the delayed enlistment program for the Air Force when this happened. So I saw all my life memories flash before my eyes, and it seemed so surreal, you know. And so I know I had a concussion, but I was cleared to join the military 2 months later. So, I joined the military in June 1979. And then the third time I had a near-death experience was actually when I was pregnant with Zachary. Well, it wasn't near-death, but I had a very, very, very real dream that was definitely God talking to me in my dream, because of the fact I had such a fear of dying. And I was 6 months pregnant with Zachary. And it was just so real that that Zachary had died, and I was fighting for my life. That's what I was. And I couldn't put my finger on why it happened. And so when I woke up from it, I really started evaluating my diet, you know. And that's when I was going to the doctor, and like within a few months from that, my blood pressure started elevating, and I became preeclamptic. And so I was induced 10 days early because the protein levels in my blood were that high. But I was on, they kept me on like a drip in the hospital for 2 days to prevent me from having any kind of seizures or anything. And because of the levels being so high. And you know what? I had Zachary normal. So he was a vaginal birth. All my kids were vaginal births. And so, but it was definitely a wake-up call when you wake up with a dream like that. But, you know, I strongly feel that my son's life was in danger if I didn't do anything to take care of my health when I was pregnant. And I was working 12-hour days at San Gregorio Hospital, and I worked up to 2 weeks before I delivered. And then I only had a week off because he was due on the 31st of March, and I filed for my maternity leave on the 15th of March. I started my maternity leave on 15th March, and Zachary was born at 3 o'clock in the morning of the 21st. So I only had a week, but that's okay. He was born very quick. They induced me. He was born 8 hours later. Way better than with my first child. Kelsey, she lasted 29 hours inside of me before I pushed her out. And it's like, boy, that first one was a challenge. And then Lauren, my latest one, He was induced to my due date because I took way better care of my health. I was worried about him having ADHD like his brother. So I took way better care of myself, even though I was facing homelessness with my 2 older kids and our family dog for over a year. But it's like I worked as a beach guard and I loved it. I had the kids at the beach with me and I was praying to God and talking to God and reconnecting myself to Him, because my kids deserved a way better life than what we had been handed, and I was the only parent to give it to them, and God granted me the strength to do that. And so I'm very blessed to be able to have the strength from everything I've endured. But other than that, I guess the birds are I guess they're snoozing now. But I got to get my smoothie done. But I just wanted to reconnect with everybody and let them know why I take so seriously my health, because my thyroid condition I'm reversing and it is working, and I've reduced my medication 2 times since I've been on the Armour Thyroid. So, the doctors say there's no cure for thyroid disease. Yes, there is a cure for... I don't want to say there is a cure, because nothing is for certain, because you don't know the damage that has been done to your body and your physiology until you remove a lot of these toxins and additive out of your system, especially with oh, there they are. Especially with the bread and the carbs and the genetically modified food that's out there. Stay away from the soy. Stay away from the dairy. Basically, make sure that you're eating gluten, no dairy, no soy, hypoallergenic, non-GMO. So, the less pesticides or additives in your food, the way better and more nutrition you have. Don't let people tell you that that's not true. Yes, it is true. I know for a fact it's true that all produce that is organic is 95% pesticide free. Now you do the math, okay? When there's that science over stuff that's sprayed, what would you choose to put in your body? Roundup